How do we stop people pleasing? How do we stop the cycle of fawning and bending over backwards for other people? We know that it's toxic. We know that it's destructive. We know the root cause. We know where it comes from, the behavior comes from. But how do we actually begin dealing with it so that we don't keep this cycle going? First thing I need us to do is start obsessing over you. Pour all of that energy that you are putting into every other relationship that you have to make them feel better, to make them more comfortable, to learn them so that you can do what they need, so that they can feel better about them. So all of that, pour right back into yourself. I need you to get obsessed with knowing you. Who are you? What do you like? What do you not enjoy? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? If you can't answer those questions about yourself, guess what? You are a toxic people pleaser. Because tell me, how can you tell me everything about the person you're with, your boss at work, your parents, your boyfriend? Tell me how you can tell me every little thing about them, but you can't define yourself. You can't tell me about you. Put all that energy that you're putting into everyone else and everything else into yourself and begin a deep self-discovery dive. Get to know you. Number two, I need you to shift your subconscious. Reading an incredible book the other day, and it really got me thinking. Our subconscious actually fuels 95% of the actions that we take in life. Our subconscious functions, thought process, ideas, all of that is formed through conditioning. It's all repetition. Our subconscious takes that as truth. One of the things I had to realize when it comes to the behavior of people pleasing is that there was a narrative that I had been conditioned to believe was true about thinking about myself. Thinking about myself automatically made me a selfish person, but that's not true. Considering my own needs and having self-respect does not make me selfish. We have to shift the narrative that we've been fed to believe about people pleasing, about taking care of ourselves, about self-respect, and combating that with the truth, objective truth. You have to redefine what selfish is. Thinking about yourself and considering yourself in a decision is not wrong, nor is it selfish. Only ever thinking about yourself is. Number three, I need us to get comfortable with the discomfort. Here's the truth. I had to come to this realization in order to start actively dealing with my people pleasing. I'm going to have to put myself in situations where I say no, where I set a boundary, where I don't over explain, where I look out for myself. I have to actively put myself in those positions. And then what helped me was just going ahead and accepting that this was going to be uncomfortable, right? I was going to spiral. I'm going to have some anxiety post boundary setting. It's going to be so uncomfortable and I'm going to hate every minute of it. But since doing that and exposing myself more and more to this new behavior, the spiral has gotten less deep and dark. The anxiety has lessened and the discomfort is almost not there. Exposure therapy can be tough, but it works if you have the skills. And hopefully after this video, you have the skills to start combating people-pleasing behaviors, because as you do it, you're more and more empowered and the discomfort and the spiral is lessened, and you start to realize that you're capable of doing these things. But if you get ahead of it and just go ahead and admit to yourself, like, it's going to be uncomfortable. Don't lie to yourself. Don't be delulu. Just go ahead and say, yeah, I'm going to do this and this is going to hurt. This is going to hurt. I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to do it anyway. You're going to become stronger, and it's going to be easier and easier the more that you do it. I see you. Okay. I see you and I understand you. Like I said, I'm 27 years old. I have lived my entire life performing for other people. It's only been within the last 2 or 3 years that I've really truly began to deal with this behavior and learn myself. So I get it. Understand the need for approval and affection, especially if you were deprived of it as a child or you had to work so hard to get it and to achieve it like a prize instead of a birthright, I am so sorry that was your experience. That does not have to be the end of our story. We can be that girl that is confident, that is bold, that is brave. Like I said, that truly is receptive to abundance and love and affection without having to self-abandon, without having to perform, without having to put on a show and to neglect ourselves. I believe that is for us to experience. And I hope that you will commit to everything that we've talked about today and really begin to grow and move forward, because there is so much beauty and peace and rest in this life for the girl who deals with it. I love you so much. Bye.